Hello and a warm welcome to Federal special program Capital Beat. Controversy around the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls in Bihar is refusing to die down. In fact, the situation on the ground is really chaotic. People are wondering whether their citizenship will be stripped off. People are wondering if they don't have the documents, where will they go? Will they be devoid of all the benefits which the government has been given so far? All these are questions which are arising since the time the Election Commission made an announcement around the special intensive revision of the electoral rolls. Now, the bureaucrats have also started writing to the Election Commission, and one of them is Mr. EAS Sarma, who is the former secretary to the government of India, and he has written a letter to Mr. Gyanesh Kumar, Mr. Sandhu, and Mr. Joshi, the three election commissioners. And what he has written is very, very alarming. Now, listen to what he has written, and then I will go on with a conversation with Mr. EAS Sarma, who joins us this morning. He has written that I refer to the Election Commission's aggressive drive to revamp electoral rolls in Bihar, leaving its machinery hardly any time for a realistic verification of the identity of voters. Compounding it is the kind of documentation prescribed by the Commission for such a verification, leaving many questions unanswered. He says that I'm aware that several political parties have expressed reservations against the approach adopted by the Commission and its exclusionary impact on electoral rolls, considering that the Commission is expected to function in a transparent manner and remain fully accountable to political parties and the public at large. It would be erroneous on its part to treat such concerns as vexatious criticism aimed at eroding confidence in the electoral process. In fact, taking such concerns into account as timely warnings and dealing with them in a transparent and forthright manner would enhance the Commission's public credibility. And he has also referred to a number of articles which have come out in the public domain, and he has listed out how this special intensive revision of the electoral rolls will be exclusionary. So we will talk to Mr. EAS Sarma, who joins us on the Federal. Thank you so much for joining. And it's a pleasure to have you on the program. And I was reading your letter, which is quite incisive and very self-explanatory also. But what you have said about the exclusion bit, if you can really explain on what yardsticks you say that this is going to be exclusionary, I think it would be quite enlightening for the viewers also to listen to you. Yes, sir.
See, in my letter, actually, I indicated the statistics, which are actually based on a very good study by one Rahul Shastri, and that was reproduced by Wire journal. So basically, the Election Commission, in their order, in their guidelines of, I think, 24th of June, I think, they issued this special intensive survey guidelines. Now, they indicated some documents. Now, these documents are birth certificate, then government, PSU ID, then Forest Rights Act certificates, then other documents which are not very relevant to Bihar. Then they did not mention Aadhaar and ration card, which are very commonly known to everybody. So this analysis added compounded. I have added a few things to that, or like this. Now, birth certificate. Now, if you ask anybody at random in Bihar or Andhra Pradesh or anywhere, have you registered the birth of so-and-so? The answer would be no. Because very few people go through the hassle of registering birth and all that. So birth certificates, if you go by that, the percentage is very, very small, roughly less than 3% of the population. That's one. The second is government and PSU employees. We all know how many are there. Today, the government size is shrinking. They're outsourcing services. So if you go by that, less than 2% probably of the population. How many government servants are there? In fact, they're all hankering for government jobs. There are no government jobs. Then Forest Rights Act. It's very interesting. Forest Rights Act came into force in 2006. And we have been asking the Ministry of Tribal Welfare to Tribal Affairs to see that these rights are conferred on the tribals. There are two kinds of tribal rights. One is individual, the other is community rights. Now, I have taken the Ministry of Tribal Affairs website, and I've taken the Forest Rights Act dashboard and what is the position. And then I've also looked at the parliament replies given by the Minister for Tribal Affairs recently. According to the reply, it's very shocking that in the case of Bihar, out of 4,496 claims, they rejected and gave only 191 forest right certificates. I mean, Bihar has got a huge tribal population, 191. So this is something, I don't know how the Election Commission thought of the Forest Rights Act certificate as one document. See, tribal populations are known. You go there and do a local inquiry. And I can tell you, tribals are honest. I was Commissioner of Tribal Welfare in Andhra Pradesh. They're honest. When they say something, they mean it. So this is something very shocking. Then Aadhaar. Now, they did not mention Aadhaar. And we all know that Aadhaar is linked to Jan Dhan accounts. Aadhaar for everything, literally all your documents and all that. Aadhaar card is possessed by many people. I went through the statistics. Now, unfortunately, 2011 census, after that, they have not conducted census. This particular government, India government, somehow for some reason, they're afraid of data. They're afraid of anything that is data related. They want to delay. Census, they delayed 2021 census in the name of COVID. Now, this government should know that in the case of Spanish flu of 2008, 1918 or something, it was very devastating, but still 1921 census was conducted at that time. They did not stop it. But this particular government, they delayed census. Anyway, we took the projections, 2011, and I find Bihar has got 87.5% of the population covered with Aadhaar cards. At least, that much is covered. But still, there are some who are not covered. There are some probably ghost Aadhaar cards. I mean, there are complaints. Then ration card. Now, ration card is universal. See, even a migrant worker, Bihari workers are all over the country. Even a migrant worker usually has a ration card. In fact, I asked one migrant worker in Delhi from Bihar. He said, sir, I'll go back to Bihar and vote because my ration card is there. It is a very robust kind of a thing. So this kind of thing, they could have done it, but they didn't do it. I remember in this Election Commission guidelines up to recent June 2025, they mentioned 2003 intensive survey in Bihar, saying after that we are doing it again. Now, who did that? There is one Mr. K.J. Rao, who was an employee of the Election Commission at the time. Later on, he became advisor to the Election Commission. And he went from door to door and he verified. And he became a legend in Bihar. He literally went through the whole thing and then everybody talked of K.J. Rao. So I requested Mr. K.J. Rao to come to Visakhapatnam where I live. And he came here and then we had a meeting on electoral rolls. Then I requested him to teach me how he did this Bihar survey. So we went to a constituency. We did a door-to-door survey. And it's very simple. Local inquiry. See, very often there is a door number, but some number is shown. It is not, the person is not there. So you quickly make inquiries and you delete. So, it's a local inquiry based on several documents. Give a choice. See, citizens, the voter must have a choice. Aadhaar, ration, other things. So we did that. I went through the whole thing, I remember. So I can tell you what KJ Rao did was entirely different. And what these people are doing today is exclusionary. They are going to exclude. It's not intensive survey, it's extensive exclusion. That is the kind of thing that is happening. Now, one or two interesting things in this. They have given hardly 3 months or 4 months. And Bihar elections will take place sometime in November, I think. So there is hardly any time. And I've seen TV coverage of this election people, going and asking people. They are all protesting. People are protesting, saying, where do I get a birth certificate? And then suppose somebody comes and says, are you a citizen of India? It's very difficult for me to prove it unless I have a passport or something. And I've dealt with Assam foreigners problem. Somebody suddenly the police will come and say, you look like a foreigner, and then put him in jail. 2 years he is in jail. And he doesn't know what these documents are. He's a person who is running a rickshaw or something. So some public spirited NGO takes up his case in the high court. Then the high court summons these people, police, and finally they find all the documents are intact. And 2 years he's in
No, but
jail.
sir, I want to understand from you, Mr. Sarma, that the logic which Election Commission is giving, that because of rampant urbanization, there are a lot of unwanted voters. This is the kind of logic they have given and the kind of documents they are asking for. Do you think that it really has an acceptable premise in what they are saying? Because they are not ready to hear. India delegation members, they went to meet the Election Commission, and not even on a single point Election Commission wanted to hear them out. So what does one expect of an attitude, from an Election Commission like this?
Yeah. See, in fact, if you see these guidelines of June 2025, there is an annexure B, and there is a clause 5B, where they said if you come across a foreigner, you report to the authorities. See, now it looks as though that the entire electoral survey is aimed at proving that somebody is a foreigner and excluding him, rather than quickly, verifying whether he's a voter or not. I mean,
no, but in your assessment, does Election Commission really have the powers to look for the citizenship of the person?
Fine. But you see, you don't divert. For example, KJ Rao, when he did it, he didn't get into the. See, if somebody is there, okay, what document? See, after all, Aadhaar card, when government prepares it, after all, Aadhaar card is a statutory document. When they did it, they verified all these things. Now, Election Commission is trying to do it, a further inquiry on the citizenship of each citizen in Bihar. Okay, now, one of the things I want to mention here. Now, see, the Election Commission, each member is actually selected by a highly executive dominated committee selection process. So in a way, it looks as though that they're all chosen by the executive, the government at the center. So generally people say, what is this? It's not an independent choice, independent selection. Because of that, I'm not attributing any motives to Election Commission members, but if I were in their position, I would be extra careful to establish trust. I would like to go, out of the way to show that I'm impartial. And the second thing is, whenever a public makes a complaint, a public from the civil society like me, or political parties make a complaint, immediately the response of the Election Commission is, it's vexatious. You are trying to erode the credibility of the electoral process. But my point is, if you don't address these complaints, you yourself are eroding the credibility of the whole process much more. So this is something. And, I remember
what I'm failing to understand, Mr. Sarma, is that why is Election Commission so indifferent to a chaos like this? Are they not seeing the chaos which is unfolding in Bihar, and it's going to unfold in other states as well? Because this exercise is not going to remain restricted only to Bihar. It's going to get extended to other states which are poll bound for next year.
Yeah. In fact, Election Commission, those members, if they see the TV coverage, they should worry. What have we done? They should quickly call them and then, review the whole process. They have not done that so far. Still,
Yes.
They're trying to blame opposition parties, blame public, blame anybody, saying that you are trying to. Now, the other important thing is, you take the case of Maharashtra. There are many complaints about Maharashtra elections, and they didn't bother. One village, Markadwadi village in Sholapur,
they are saying that in order to address the problems which came up in Maharashtra elections, they have come up with this intensive revision of the electoral rolls. This is election said.
After Maharashtra, they conducted Haryana elections. Somebody went to the court, and the court said, produce all the video proceedings. What did the Election Commission do? Quickly, they went and amended Rule 93 of the Conduct of Elections rules to say that video proceedings need not be kept beyond 45 days or something. Then why are you afraid? See, you cannot destroy evidence. What is wrong? After all, you are spending public money, my money, on video recordings. And why do you want to destroy it? So that shows there's something wrong with the Election Commission. Now you take Delhi. I think on your channel, I came on this thing. Sanjay Singh, member of parliament from Aam Aadmi Party, he came up with the specific details of Delhi election in which one address had 60 people. And who are they? They're all recommended by some political figures, legislators, and then they add. So he said, here are the details. So in fact, I appealed to the Election Commission at the time. I said, for heaven's sake, at least, verify. No response at all. So in a way, it looks as though that the election commission seems to be somewhat, acting on behalf of the executive more than the people of India. This is something very, very dangerous, very troublesome, actually. So the credibility of the whole thing, institution itself, is at stake. I wrote to them several times. Not only this, I raised several issues on.
No, but this time when you have written a letter, did you post a letter or did you write to them via email?
No, I emailed them. I get replies from, yesterday, day before yesterday, I got a very good response from the Ministry of Tribal Welfare. I wrote a letter to the secretary saying I want help, and then immediately the joint secretary telephoned me and said, this is the way you should go about. I mean, the people who have responded, but election commission, you see, if they respond and address a concern, that's enough. I'm not saying that you should decide the way I want it, but they have not done that. And I still remember, Madhav Deshpande, a computer specialist, there was a detailed interview. And he said there are 4 segments of the whole electoral EVM chain, where they are vulnerable. He didn't say that they are being manipulated. It's a vulnerability. Now, they don't want to address this. EVM is 100% safe.
Sarma, the way things have unfolded so far, what do you think is what is this entire process going to result into for the people of Bihar and for the people of all those states where a similar exercise will be undertaken? What is really going to happen? Let's assume that election commission doesn't want to address this problem, which is very evident. They are trying to justify every bit of what they are doing, but there is chaos unfolding. There is fear on the ground. Indian Express has done a ground report which came out yesterday, and it's a banner story where people are worried as to what's going to happen really if they do not have documents. If election commission doesn't see this at all, what do you think this process is going to result into, starting from Bihar?
My gut feeling is that because of this, the way they are proceeding on this intensive survey, it will result in exclusion law, very extensive exclusion of scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and OBCs, and other disadvantaged sections, and minorities especially. Then it will also affect the backward areas of Bihar, where literacy rates are low, where registration of birth and all that are low. It will actually affect them. And another interesting thing is that, the whole thing will be, to exclude a voter from voting is a very serious matter in my view. It actually erodes the value of democracy in India. So it is, in a way, it's very extensive exclusion will take place. Crores of people will get excluded because of this. Who will produce all these documents? So the way they proceeded.
When people are excluded, then how does one assume the situation? Are we going to have a second category of citizens in the country who will not have documents, who will not have the voting rights? It's almost equivalent to creating a second class of citizens in the country.
Absolutely. I think what really happened is that that second class of citizens is not a small section. It's a huge section in the population, proportion of the population. So you're literally, by insisting on these things, you're excluding them and you're harassing them, actually. In fact, my worry is that as a result of this intensive survey, many people will be branded as foreigners, and then they'll be referred, and then they'll be harassed. They'll be subject to harassment. See, leave alone voting, he'll be subject to harassment and cases and all that. It's a very, very serious matter. And I'm sure, I don't know whether the Election Commission is really listening to all these things. I think they should worry, and the public should worry. Political parties should worry. I think there should be a nationwide protest against this.
I don't know about the nationwide protest as of now, what's going to happen. The first, I have been in touch with people who went from the India Alliance to meet the Election Commission. They are saying that they are mulling over whether to go to the courts. Now, I don't know how long that will take. The monsoon session is going to begin on 21st of July. I'm sure this issue also will be taken up. But by that time, it's going to be very late because this process started on 25th June. 25th July, it's a 1-month process. It'll almost be over by the time the monsoon session starts. So how good will be, this point on raising this issue at all? But what are the courts doing? Can't the courts take a suo motu cognizance, Mr. Sarma, on this?
In many cases, the highest court can take suo motu cognizance. But unfortunately, it has not happened. Anyway, even in this case, I'll be very happy if the court intervenes and at least, ask questions and ask Election Commission to address this concern. That would be very good. I hope, I'm an optimist, and I hope the court will intervene. I hope somebody will go to the court and move it. So you can ask me, why are you not going to the court? I have enough cases, and with which I'm struggling, and they've taken a long time. So what I feel is that this is a matter which is such a serious matter that I would even appeal to the courts to so more to intervene and look at this. It's very important.
So my last question to you, sir, is that eventually this is going to lead to the disenfranchisement of crores and crores of people, not only in Bihar, but if this exercise is not stopped in Bihar, it's going to happen and get replicated in other states.
Absolutely. I mean, this kind of an approach itself is exclusionary, and it can be devastating. It will have a devastating impact on our democracy.
Really unfortunate and very concerning as well, but we'll have to wait and watch whether courts take a suo motu cognizance. What do the political parties do? How do the people take this issue, not only in Bihar but elsewhere where it's a similar exercise is going to be undertaken? Thank you so much, Mr. Sarma, for joining on The Federal.